Shalom, Barak the Yahweh, Barak the Yahshai, Barak the Yahweh, Barak the Yahshai, Barak the Yahweh, Barak the Yahshai. Let's give all praises to Yahweh, Bashim Yahushai, the honors, the apostles, the elders, Great Millstone, and the bishops, Great Millstone that taught us its word. Peace and salutations to the hopeful elect across the planet Earth, pushing this truth in sincerity and in truth. So earlier this week, Texas got hit with a flood. Took this is a death toll rises. It's about 129 people. I think over 100 are still missing, but that's the Lord visiting that place, man. So yeah, we're in that time, but and you can expect to see more of that as we get drawn nearer and closer, to the end. You know, that was the Lord visiting Texas, man, with that storm. Uh, just out of the independent uh, .uk. It's called the Texas flood. Latest death toll rises to 129 as battered communities face weekend of flash flood risks. So yeah, flash floods, and it's not just in Texas, man. There's going to be like a high warning of flash floods throughout all the Midwest this weekend. It says Kirk County officials reportedly failed to activate a powerful public alert system, so they're trying to come up with an excuse, trying to blame it on people or whatever. But that was the Spirit of the Lord that did this, man. There's nothing you could have done that would have prevented these deaths. That was judgment that went out. That could have saved lives before last week's devastating flood. The Washington Post revealed that despite having the technology to turn every mobile phone in the river valley into a loud alarm, local authorities did not deploy it as the Guadalupe River swelled to record levels on July 4th. Yeah, so they're blaming it on technology, and someone didn't do their job. I think they could do it at Charlie Kirk. You try to blame it on a Jake, but this was judgment of Yahweh Hashem Yahushai, man. Nothing that they could have done would have prevented that. There have been at least 129 deaths, and more than 160 people are missing 1 week later. So yeah, you can expect that death toll to rise even more, man. But yeah, this is happening all throughout the Midwest. It's NBC News, dated today, July 12th. So, severe thunderstorms take aim at Midwest. The risk of flash floods returns to the South. In the Midwest, quarter-size hail and an isolated tornado cannot be ruled out, while in the South, flood alerts are in effect for areas that were devastated by flash floods last week. So that ain't gonna stop. More judgment possibly can go out this weekend. Now, severe thunderstorms are taking aim in the Midwest over the weekend, while the South is at risk for more flash flooding. Detroit and Indianapolis, Cincinnati are included in Saturday's risk for damaging wind gusts. Quarter-size hail and isolated tornado cannot be ruled out. Storms already caused property damage and flooding to Davenport, Iowa, on Friday night. This is breaking. A video posted to social media showed an ominous shelf cloud, which are associated with damaging winds. Yeah, a cloud, you best believe it. A chariot is in the midst of that, causing that, more flooding for the South. So, it ain't gonna stop. It's gonna continue. These natural disasters, which are judgment from the Lord, It's Isaiah 29:6. Thou shalt be visited of the Lord of hosts with thunder and with earthquake and great noise, with storm and tempest and a flame of devouring fire. Yes, that's how the Lord visits these places, man. That's judgment. It's part of the Lord's judgment. It's thunder, earthquakes, great noise, storms and tempests, man. These floods, storms, they just come through out of nowhere and just sweep you up. They take you away. It's judgment of the Lord. Yahweh Shem Yahushai says, thou shalt be visited of the Lord, Yahweh Shem Yahushai, of hosts, with that stuff, man. So it's a serious deal, man. Those things can just pop up out of nowhere. It says with earthquakes too, man. It's part of the end prophecies that there will be earthquakes in diverse places, man. Just the other day, we had a swarm of earthquakes, low-level earthquakes, man, in California. It didn't even make the news, but I felt it where I was at. Apparently, there was a bunch of them, so there's always some earthquake going on, man. Eventually, it's going to lead up to that big one that they keep, talking about. Now it's going to be the ultimate judgment, one of the judgments of Yahweh Shem Yahushai, a very strong earthquake, the Richter scale of 7 and up. It's a very scary thing. As Jeremiah 30:23, behold, the whirlwind of the Lord goeth forth with fury, a continuing whirlwind. It shall fall with pain upon the head of the wicked. The fierce anger of the Lord shall not return until he have done it, and until he have performed the intents of his heart, his mind. In the latter days ye shall consider it. Considering it now and considering it in Texas, man. Let's flip that over, see what the AMP has to say. Behold, the tempest of the Lord, the wrath is gone forth, a sweeping and gathering tempest. It will burst on the head of the wicked. Man, Texas, it was sweeping and gathered them, man. It was a sweeping storm, man. Damn page won't load, but that was a sweeping and gather them up. 129 victims, man. It's swept up. It'll burst on the head of the wicked, man. The fierce, righteous anger of the Lord will not turn back until he hath fulfilled and until he has accomplished the intent of his heart, his mind. Yep. In the latter days, you're understanding this, and they're understanding it in Texas, man. Let's believe, they're understanding that was the Lord that did that, man. They don't want to admit it. I want to talk about how it could have been prevented and all that. You couldn't have prevented that. That was judgment of the Lord. There's nothing you can do about that, Yeah, FEMA will rebrand to highlight local leaders' roles in disaster response. You can rebrand it. You can rebrand all you want. You're not going to stop that judgment. When that judgment goes forth, man, you ain't going to stop that. Thousands of calls from Texas flood survivors went unanswered. Yeah, what do you expect? That you're not going to be able to put out this judgment in that fire. You call, when the Lord drops the missiles, when the stars shall fall from heaven, man. You can call all the fire stations you want. You're going to be able to put out that fire. It's prophecy of Yahweh Shem Yahushai, man. Yeah, in the latter days, you will understand it. And we're understanding that perfectly clear, man. You can tell we're in the latter days, man. They understand it. They're understanding all of it. We're in the latter days. We're understanding the judgment of the Lord, man. Psalms 107:23. They that go down the sea in ships that do business in great waters. These see the works of the Lord and his wonders in the deep. For he commandeth, and raiseth the stormy wind, which lifted up the waves thereof. They mounted up to the heaven, they go down again into the deep, the depths. Their souls melted because of trouble. They reel to and fro and stagger like drunken men, and are at their wits' end. This is the point, and they cry to the Lord, Yahushai, in their trouble, and he bringeth them out of their distresses. He maketh the storm calm, so that the waves thereof are still. So yeah, these men that do business on the ocean, the ships, the Lord brought a storm. And what did they do? They called out to the Lord in their distress. And the Lord ceased the storm, calmed it down, made the waves still. Verse 30. Then are they glad because they be quiet. So he bringeth them unto their desired haven. So, what happened when Katrina hit years ago? What did our people do, man? They called upon FEMA. FEMA didn't help them, man. They decided to call upon FEMA and not Yahushai. And that's why they got swept away and gathered. They got swept and gathered by that destruction, man. So you got to pray upon that name when stress comes upon you in all situations. And the Lord will deliver you, man. But ultimately, you need to come back to Yahushai. This is Isaiah 55:6. Seek ye the Lord while he may be found. Call ye upon him while he is near. The Lord is near. 2025, all that's going on, the Lord is still near. Because the prophets are still out there, man, on the street corners. Let the wicked forsake his way, and the unrighteous man his thoughts. The wicked, the wicked of our people, man, the Israelites. And let him return to the Lord, Yahushai, and he will have mercy upon him and to our power, for he will abundantly pardon. So you want mercy in these end days, man. Ultimately, you're going to want to be delivered for that ultimate destruction, and nuclear destruction, man. But you want to be able to call upon the Lord so he'll deliver you. Like those men out there that dealt with the ocean and the ships. And numerous other examples. Like King David, he was in distress. And his enemies compassed about him. He called upon the Lord, and the Lord delivered him, man. But yeah, you can expect, the death toll to rise even more. You can expect even more natural disasters, earthquakes, thunders, and ultimately that devouring fire. Ultimately, man. With that, Shalom.